Great conversations, thank you. I hope that's been helpful. Keep thinking, keep talking. And we came up with loads of ideas over here already. But they're tiny little things, aren't they? Tiny little things, which actually, if you do them, make a big difference. I want to just pick up on this. So Stefan's asked me to share some of the stuff that I did in my previous church up in Shrewsbury, where I was quite involved with this. And we saw a real culture change in the 4 years that I was there. And I just want to share some of the things that made a difference, which particularly links in with this sharing stories, which is the next one, which I think is, for me, I think this is the biggest thing which makes a difference. So I was at a big church, which I think it wouldn't be ashamed to say it was a programme-driven church up in Shrewsbury. It prided itself on having over 100 rotas for different things. And mission was very much what the church did. We put on mission, the church puts on mission, brilliant around youth, children, old folk, loads of stuff going on. But all the conversations were about actually how can we get you to help out in mission in the church? And suddenly we hit LICC stuff, and suddenly the conversations began to change, and we realised there's a whole other world out there. And the LICC stuff, this was such a key shift for us. And when I left, it was quite different, and the change is still happening now, which is lovely. So how did we do? We started off by with the small group material, the Life on the Frontlines DVD and the Fruitfulness on the Frontlines DVDs, which you can get at the back. Bit of a plug for that. They're brilliant, if you haven't done them so far, for just opening up this stuff. We had preaching series on those too, so that we preached about it on Sundays, and we had the small group sessions in the small groups as well. But most significant stuff began to click when we started telling stories of different people, like we've done a bit already tonight. So some of the things we did, and these were our 1 degree shifts. The monthly prayer diary, which was out there, and when I first went to church, it prayed for all the church staff members and their family, but never for anyone else. And I was embarrassed that everyone once a month was praying for me and our family as Cura up there, but we never prayed for anyone else. And we shifted that, and we said, right, we're going to find out some other people to pray for, and we stuck them in the prayer diary. So it wasn't just praying for the staff. That was a significant shift. We had a monthly magazine with articles about what was happening in the church. And I made sure that actually we had an article every month about fruitfulness and the news from the front lines, with 2 or 3 people sharing their stories in that. We had the This Time Tomorrow slots, interviews in church, as we've talked about. But most significant of all was when I started going out to visit people on their front lines. Rather than just having people in church doing an interview, tell us about your front lines, because you have this time as a curate, so do these things. But I intentionally went out to places and said, can I come to your front line? And I took some video clips of people on their front lines, talking about their front lines, and then we showed them at church. So we had a particular weekend away where a guy from LICC came and did a whole weekend on fruitfulness and frontline stuff. And we particularly sort of like, God sort of gave me this about 10 days before, and I quickly ran around and did a load of videos, which we then showed at the weekends. And I want to show you a couple of them, just to so you get the feel. I just filmed these on my iPad. They are not professional videos. Derek will probably cringe at the back there. But actually that was part of it. It was rough and ready, because it was really real stuff. So hopefully these are going to work.
Hello, I'm Leslie, and I see my frontline activities very clearly. In my prayers, I always finish with, Lord, show me the way. Now let me tell you that my wife is in a care home, and I go to see her 2, 3 or 4 times a week, and she suffers with Alzheimer's, dementia, and we have good times together. We quite always enjoy our company together. So we don't fight the disease, we live with it and enjoy it. And there's always plenty of activities going on, and for example, I asked for Lord, show me the way, and a young lady at the care home named Rebecca came to me last Christmas and said, Leslie, I know you go to church, you're a church man. I said, yes. She says, I wonder if you and I could do a little church service together for the residents. And I said, of course. I said, what do you want? So she said, well, I'll start it off, which she did. And we had about 20 residents there. And I said, okay, well, I'll read a passage from the Bible, suitable for the occasion. And that went down rather well. The residents then were asked, and Rebecca said, what shall we do now? So I said, shall we say the Lord's Prayer together? Which we did. And everyone joined in. It was a really good service. We finished off with a Thanksgiving, a few words of Thanksgiving, and then that was it. But this activity of mine, with assisting here and there, wherever the Lord points me, is very clear to me. And so I finally say, please pray for me in my frontline activities, and as I ask the Lord, good Lord, to show me the way, I shall listen carefully and act upon his guidance.
Hi, I'm Marina. This is my front line. It's my neighbourhood. We've just finished having a barbecue here, and we've invited some church family and some neighbours, some mums from nursery and some people from school. And we've just had a really great time together. It's been great to see some of the mums from school and from nursery coming along to Trinity Tots, and also to the home group that we've got on Friday mornings, and some of them coming to church. It would be great if you could pray for me to have lots of opportunities to invite people over and just to share some of God's love for them.
Hi guys, this is my front line.
Okay, we'll hear more from Arnie a bit later. Les, the first one, dear man, he's 85. He used to live up the road from us. When Les's video was shown, that was almost the tipping point moment in our church, because people looked and saw, here's an 85-year-old who we know and have worship with and have a coffee time each week. He's going into his nursing home where his wife just isn't with it at all, who's, I don't know, about the same age. And he's open to that being his front line. And it was just so profound for our church to see that, and they thought, if Leslie can do it, we can do it. And so you can see, I particularly chose, not people in work, but I chose people in the normal things. So Marina is brilliant in her neighbourhood, amazing stuff there. And we also chose slightly quirky things as well. Here's another one.
Dave, next Sunday I go into hospital at Stoke for an operation. I have to be in there about 10 days. This is going to be my front line while I'm there, and I ask that you would pray for me to be what Jesus would have me be for the patients that are with me, and also the nursing staff that are looking after us all. Thank you very much.
Hello everybody, you've caught me in my front line. What's this, you say? Well, it's the Alvis in my garage. My 3-litre 1951 Alvis. How can that be part of the front line? Well, it hasn't got a soul, has it? Oh, I must say, I sometimes wonder. But the thing is, this has brought me into contact with so many people. For example, at Cockshut there's a farm and there are barns full of these, which are available to take to pieces for spare parts. And the man who runs that, Chris Prince, I've got to know him quite well. And it's amazing what conversations one can have. And even to the extent that there's an empathy which builds up when you're speaking about something that's common between you. And I do think these are opportunities that God gives. And now, as we stand in this garage, and above it, 2 bedrooms, my next door neighbour, Roger, helped me to build this. And it was some years ago now, but Roger is a bricklayer, and what was I, a teacher? But anyway, we built it together, and there's a strong connection between Roger next door and me. In fact, we share the same cat. The other week, I asked Roger on the off chance, did he fancy coming to the men's breakfast down at church? And he said, well, yeah, okay. And we went down there and we had a nice breakfast together. And I could see he was enjoying it. But afterwards, he said to me, Len, that was great. I'd like to come to another one of those. When the next one is, let me know. So there was an opportunity for him to hear some of the things which perhaps I couldn't put into words. But I do believe that those are good ways which we can extend our front line. And even this morning, early this morning, I had a dental appointment which was a quick cancellation. So I went down to have a small filling. But the dental practitioner, he's from Africa, he's a lovely man, he's done the best dental work on me that I've ever had in my life. His name is Samuel Sunday. Now when we went to Zambia that time, people had these names which are Christian origin, and I get a feeling that this man might be Christian, but whether he is or not, I felt an empathy toward him, and I'm going to make sure next time I go that I'm going to extend the sort of friendship that built up between us. After that, it was my French lesson at the Gateway, and again, trying French, trying to speak with people. After 4 or 5 lessons like that, you begin to know people, and there is a weaving of the web between you. And I do believe God is quite wanting to use things like that. So, as I was cycling back from town, I met one of the fellow students, and she wanted to talk, and we stood there in the middle of the town and just talked in a very general way. And you can sense when there is an empathy beginning and building. So I'm praying that all those interactions will be ways which God can bring people to that support. But I really believe that even in the garage, with no other human being apart from the others, which incidentally is called Walter.
Gives you a bit of an idea of Len. Really interesting. Since I've moved away, the new curates up there, her husband is into cars like that, and he's basically got his own fresh expression of church, which is basically going and having car rallies and being the Christian Rev. He's got a whole thing called Revs. And they had a car rally at the church and got all over people to bring their old cars, and a load of blokes came along, and actually he led a bit of service and stuff after that. And it's really interesting to see where that's moved on since then, how God's brought someone there. But you can see there just the difference between having someone stand up in church and actually showing a bit of a video of that person on their front line. Actually, I think was really quite significant. What did it do? I think actually it gave me an excuse to go and visit people. And when I went to visit people, actually that spoke volumes to them. It says, actually, you care about our front lines enough to actually come out and visit me here. Which actually said immediately, this is really important to you, isn't it? Which it was. It also actually was an amazing opportunity to have a discipleship conversation with these people. So actually, if I said, can I come around for a chat because I want to talk about discipleship with you, they'd have said, oh, what's the vicar wanting to come around and do? But actually, when you say, can I come around and see where you are, and let's just talk about how the church can pray for you, and let's talk about the issues there, people loved it. And I had people queuing up to say, will you come see me on my front line? And we sort of asked them, these were sort of 4 questions that I often ask them. So simply, tell me about your front line and what you think being fruitful might mean here. Have you got any stories or testimony to share about what God's been doing here so that we can then tell those stories elsewhere? How can the church better support and equip you to be here? What can we do to support you on your front lines? And how can we pray for you? And I gathered stories and then fed them into the prayer bulletins and our monthly magazines, etc. And what else it did was it began to open up conversations between different people in the churches. So I went to visit an occupational therapist who worked at the hospital, and I videoed her in our front line and showed that. And then another person who worked at the hospital in a different department said, I didn't know this person was there. And it began to group together different people in the same place. And what we didn't quite get onto, but what would have been the next step, and they might be doing that now, is sort of begin to say, for example, everyone who works in the NHS will gather you for a breakfast once every 6 months. So that actually you can meet together and you can talk about your front lines together and you can share the common stuff and pray for each other and maybe meet each other in hospitals and things like that. So the power of telling stories is really significant, but stories of people who they're sitting next to in church each week, but seeing where they are on their front lines has made such a difference. So I'd just love you to, now in your groups, to pick some of that up, to reflect on that, but perhaps particularly think about these two questions. What communications channels do you have in your churches already, which just with a little 1 degree shift could make such a difference? And perhaps what steps could you take to make them more frontline focused there? And what some of these things, what could you go and do in those places? So maybe however many minutes to think about that.